Hi everyone, this is the first in a series of videos that I'm going to do for you showing you how to do your semester project. This one I'm going to do in Posit Cloud and RStudio because they're slightly different depending which way you do them, but then from here on out I will probably work just in RStudio because from here on out it will basically be the same. The topic today is starting out. How do you create the new project? And so I'm going to create a new project starting in GitHub because I'm going to assume that you want to get those points that you get for sharing it to GitHub at the end. So to start with, this is my GitHub homepage. If you're logged into GitHub, you should see something very much like this. I've chosen the dark theme because it's easier on my eyes. So if you have light theme, it may look different. But the layout should be basically the same because I haven't done any customization. The first step is you come over here to top repositories, and you probably won't have anything. You might have just one repository where you've cloned the class repository possibly. But I'm going to click new and create a new repository. And I can name it anything I want by typing into the repository name, at least within the rules of what are allowed. And I want to name this Demonstration Semester Project. And I'm going to do all lowercase because it's just a better form anytime you're dealing with web addresses. And I put underscores in between the words instead of spaces. That's going to save you some potential errors in R, so you should do that the same way. I'm going to write a brief description. And you are free to type better than I do. Okay, I'm going to make it public. You can make it private for right now if you like. I'm making mine public so you can see it. At the end, if you want to get credit for what you have in GitHub, you'll need to make it public. But then I'm going to add a README file, but I'm not going to really do anything more than that. I am going to skip adding a git ignore because I can do that later. And I'm going to skip choosing a license. I'll come back and do that later as well. And if you're interested in putting a license on your work, I can show you how to do that, but it's not really necessary. And then I hit the green Create Repository button. So my next step is I've already got Posit Cloud open and I've already got RStudio open. I'm going to start with RStudio. I need the name of the repository, which is the easy way to get it is just to come up here to the address bar in your web browser where the web address is and copy it, which you can do by right-clicking on Windows, or there's a way to do it on Mac. I think it involves clicking in a particular way. On Windows, you can click Control-C to copy or Control-X to paste. I'm going to use Control-X because I'll know I've got it when it disappears. So it disappeared and I'm good. So now I'm going to come back over to RStudio and I'm ready to go. And I'm going to start by going to the File menu up here in the upper left corner where it says File. I click on it. The second thing is New Project. And I'm going to click New Project. And I want to select version control. Now you have to have Git already installed on your computer or it's going to foul up at this point. So you need to be ready for that. You need to have already done that step and have everything installed. But then I hit Git and I paste that into the repository URL. I'm not going to mess with this. I've already got this set so that everything goes where I keep my RStudio projects, and I want to leave that alone. I hit Create Project, and just like that, it downloaded everything. It created it. Here's my new project, and RStudio, remember I skipped the part of creating a git ignore? RStudio actually did that for me. So I'm all set. Now there's nothing in it, but I'm there. The one thing I may want to do, because it created the git ignore and it also created my R project page, so I want to go ahead and commit those to GitHub. Now you may have to do an additional step before you can do this, and I'll go through that later in a separate video, but I'm going to go ahead and do this for mine just so I don't forget. I want to commit that, and so I opened up git and commit, and I'm just typing. It's good form. In fact, you're required to type a commit message every time you commit. I'm going to commit it, I close that, and then I push it to GitHub. So now my project is fully set up in RStudio. It'll be a little bit different in Posit Cloud. So in Posit Cloud, if you start off, you're going to be in your workspace. We also have the class workspace that's right here, and you've been invited to that. I've actually created a separate demonstration space just for this so that it's a nice, clean, no other projects. You may want to do the same thing. If you create it in the class workspace, I'll be able to help you. I'll be able to actually see it if you're having problems, but other members of the class will be able to see it on occasion too. So you may want to not do that. You may want to put it in your workspace, or you may want to create a new space for it. But wherever you place it, you start out a little differently than in RStudio because you don't have RStudio open, so there's no file menu. Instead, you come over to New Project, and you go New Project from Git Repository, and again, you paste in that URL, you click OK, and you let Posit Cloud do its thing, and it will deploy the project. It's slightly slower than my computer was with RStudio, so this is one of the disadvantages. If you have a computer that's relatively fast, one of the disadvantages of using the cloud version. But that's it. So in Posit Cloud, we're done. I can't push to GitHub, which is the issue, at least not without doing some other things. So I can't push to GitHub, which is the issue with why I encourage you to use RStudio on your other computer or on your own computer. So that is it. This is going to be probably the longest video in this because I had to do it twice, and I also gave you the introduction to what I'm doing. So that's it if you want to set up your project, and you can also include all your homeworks in here. That because you're going to use a lot of the homework problem set stuff in doing your project. So if you include them in here, that's fine. You might want to create a folder for them called problem sets, and we can make it so that those don't get uploaded to Git, or they do, whichever you like. But that's about it. I will come back and show you next how to do the bonus problem set in this project.